All right, let's do some drawing. My plan today is to do, I think this is going to be a sticker. I'm not sure. I didn't make up my mind on that, but to draw Henry. I didn't really draw too much of Henry for, I guess these are like promotional pieces. Basically promoting Occult Descent. It's on Kickstarter. It's got 7 days left from when I'm recording this. Yeah, I'll leave a link in the description to go check out. And instead of fast forwarding this, I mean, most of it anyway, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to fast forward most of it. I might have to cut though, because sometimes my dog interrupts and I have to go take her outside. But she should be good. She's sleeping on the couch. We just went for a walk. So, oh yeah, so Henry, might as well talk about him. He's like a troubled youth in the comic. He witnesses a murder, so that's what that's what kind of kicks off the comic. And he really has no place to turn, so he goes back to his friend, Detective Andy, because after witnessing the murder, this vampire is going for him next. And by troubled youth, I mean he's like more like mentally troubled, like he's always kind of had issues. And and this isn't helping his what would you call it, mental health at all. I don't think it would help anybody's mental health if you witness a murder. And this one was like, I believe it was 11 people I put in the book. It was either 11 or 12. Anyway, it was a lot of people. I mean, you don't, I guess I don't want to give any spoilers. The book, I would say, is like, PG 14-ish. Yeah, PG 14. I know that's not like a real rating, but I would suggest 14 and up to read the comic book. Yeah, I'm making Henry look pretty weird. That was basically all my drawings anyway. Starts out like, well, I'm not too sure where this is going, so I might end up doing like a lot of erasing. Henry, yeah, troubled youth, I said. Okay, so he's like around the 18, 19 age. Anyway, so still young dude. I don't want to give him too much. That's why I don't want to give him too much lines on his face, because everybody knows the more lines you put on a face, generally speaking, the older they look. So I might be erasing a lot of these. I'm just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, figuratively, and seeing what sticks. I don't know if you guys watched any Jim Lee videos, but in the ones I've seen, he said that he likes to just do the gum line of the teeth, and then kind of just let people's imagination fill in the rest. So I pretty much adhere to that advice for the most part. Sometimes I don't know, you know, like when you draw something the same over and over, you kind of want to mix it up. So sometimes I'll change it up a bit. I brought my kneaded erasers over here before I started recording. I remember in one of the other videos I did, I left my kneaded eraser over by when I draw on the couch. I was too lazy to get up and walk over there and grab it. So for the video I used one of these Pentel Click erasers, which are good also. But they tend to just obliterate the line like completely. Like they're so good of erasers that but like when I erase, I usually want to leave like so you can slightly see the line still. That's usually what I want to do. And kneaded erasers, I found are the best for that. Alright, so I'm going to draw his hands like clasping onto his head. Like he's, I don't know, hanging onto his sanity. I want to make his hands like look different from each other. So it's not like if you had a mirror on this side, it would be the same as that side. Sometimes I like how that looks, but most of the time I like the slight differentiations. Differ. I think you know what I'm talking about. Hands are like I still don't feel I have them down to like as I don't feel I'm as good at drawing hands as I want to be, but I could tell I'm a lot better at drawing hands. I just kind of convinced myself that I like drawing hands. I like that process of figuring out like where each of these fingers, these cylindrical shapes, when they turn and bend, when they turn and bend in like different ways, like they don't just go in one dimension of turning and bending. Like you could turn your finger slightly that way and then turn, or like that way in turn, and they all like move different from each other. Anyway, so like I said, I kind of got lucky, and I just convinced myself that it's fun to figure out uh, to figure out where they go, like the whole process of that. And it's just more easier to learn when you find something fun. Yeah, I don't know if how you guys learn how to draw or anything, but typically when I used to like dread drawing hands, I would do my best to find ways to hide them, put them in pockets, holding like a weapon, so I could just kind of draw the fingers around the weapon pretty generically. But like people, like my friends in school, whenever I would used to draw in school, they would point that out to me. But I also stopped drawing in school. I think I said this before. In like 7th or 8th grade, I guess Canadians would call it grade 7 or grade 8. I seen me and my friends, we would have Wizard magazines. We kind of like took turns buying it. Like whoever bought that month's Wizard, we would bring it to school, and then everyone would check it out. Sometimes we'd borrow it from each other and copy drawings out of there and stuff, because it was like $5 magazine. Not it, that was like a lot of money to us. So none of us got a subscription or anything. We just kind of, like I said, took turns buying it. So one day, like I've never seen comic book pencils before, like finished pencils. I seen I think it was in the same magazine. It was that Spawn, when Greg Capullo was drawing them. It was Yeah, and it was pencils of Spawn, and he had that shoelace, that stitch going through his face from that Batman batarang that hit him. So I seen those in finished pencil form, and I couldn't believe it. And David Finch, he had there was like a pinup, you could win it if it was like an entry. I forget what the entry was, but Wizard had a lot of them, and you could win things. And one of them was a sketch of Ripclaw that David Finch did. And I had no idea who David Finch was, but those pencils though, man, they were like amazing. So yeah, like I said, I was blown away. I was like, I didn't think a human could draw that good, because you could see the it's one thing seeing a comic book and just seeing like the ink, it's all one flat black color, and it's really good and stuff, and you just think like, okay, yeah, I could draw that, like, because typically when I would normally draw back then, I would do this, and it would look all hairy and stuff, but I know I could go over it with like a marker, and it would slightly resemble the comic book inking. His hands are too small. I gotta make them bigger. It would slightly resemble the comic book inking in the comic, which I thought was pretty cool. But seeing actual pencils, comic book pencils, you could see like the variation in like the grays, like when they pressed harder on or lighter on it. And not only that, but even the like the black areas, when they scribble it in, you could just see how perfect the lines look, to me anyway. And then like, yeah, instead of like little scratchy lines that like how me and my friends were drawing, they just had like long, confident, like flowing lines. And I was like, holy crap. I that kind of like just took all the steam out of my engine, and I pretty much stopped drawing from, I would say, like age 14 till about 21. I just had no ambition because yeah, that's terrible advice. Also, don't do that. Or that's a terrible mindset. Don't do that. Just for one, the whole comparison thing. Like I hear that all the time, or I heard that all the time, but it's really tough to follow. If you just see yourself getting better from where you were, I don't know, the day before, a week before, a month, whatever, then if you focus on that, obviously, you feel pretty good because you're making progress. And it's like, wow, okay, so if I could do that, I could take it just like a step farther, and just kind of keep going from there, like one step in the right direction, and the next thing you know, you kind of got an avalanche going of improvement. I mean, that's not guaranteed or anything, but it's a lot better than wishing you were good. So yeah, I didn't really, and then when I did start up again, I tried to, there was, from another Wizard magazine, they were saying like how you could make your own comics, and make your own comics and become a professional comic book artist through Wizard magazine. No, crap, Wizard. Image Comics. Yeah, that's what it was. Like, hey, you can make your own comic book. You could be your own editor. Just get accepted here. And I was like, okay, cool. So that's what got me back into comics again. Also, well, I mean, it was like a number of things, but that was like one of the main ones. Because I was in college, and my college degree, like even in college, I still wasn't sure of my college degree. I was thinking I could change it any moment. So being a comic book artist was what I wanted to do, and that Image comic deal made it sound like the best thing to me. That was probably like 2003, I think. 2004. But then anyway, shortly after that, because I started trying to draw, I still have that notebook where my first drawing was, getting back into it. And it's, I think if you look at it from like if you don't draw and you look at it, you'll be like, okay, that person, he draws good. But if you do draw, you could, or if you compare it to what they were looking at for professional comics at that time, it was nowhere near that. Like I still had a lot to work on for like depth and basically everything, you name it, like clothing folds, metal shiny surfaces, how to render those, leather, anatomy, facial structure, hair, story flow, dynamic poses, like all of it. I needed to work on all of that. I had a long road ahead of me. Still have a long road ahead of me. So, but I thought I got lucky again. Maybe I did. I was going to an internship that summer, and then I stopped at the mall. They had, manga was getting pretty big there. They had a big selection of manga. In one of the manga magazines, Tokyo Pop was like everywhere at that time. In the back of one of them, or in the front, they were talking about winning a competition, a comic competition. I was like, oh, sweet, cool. This was really dumb. I was like, manga is way easier to draw than American comics, because you could get away with like a lot more anatomical issues. I had no idea at the time that they draw like weekly stories. Like, I didn't know that their work output was insane. I just figured it was just like the regular American comics, like where they have a month, which that is insane enough. But anyway, so I entered the competition. It took me like 2 years to enter it though, because I kept blowing their deadlines from when I would work on something. And then I would always change the story too. It's like, I want a different story. I entered that, nothing happened. But the good thing was I did get some experience, and I got a little better at drawing. But then I also stopped drawing again for a few more years. It wasn't until I was right before I turned 29 is when I started taking it serious again. For the first time, I guess I would say that was the first time I took it like as serious as I could, because I just got out of a ACL reconstruction surgery for my knee, so I had 6 to 8 weeks off of work. I was determined to get some comic book portfolio pages, because the books that I had suggested going to your comic book a comic convention and showing off portfolio pages, talking to editors and artists, basically anybody that would look at your work. So I was pretty determined about that, and I saved up money. No, I didn't save up money. I took out a loan, which was a bad idea. But it was kind of a long story why I got the loan. But anyway, I was also like, well, I could also use the loan to go to a comic convention. And at that time, I figured my work was pretty good. It wasn't like, I could tell it wasn't the best or anything, but I figured it was good enough that someone would see it and be like, okay, this guy's pretty good, he's determined, we'll give him some work, and then I just get more from that work. And like, because I remember reading or listening on YouTube a lot of the stories of comic book artists when that was kind of like their training too, was they would get like a comic book that was like pretty low on the totem pole for sales, and they would basically like cut their teeth on that and learn a lot. The ones that were able to hang in the comic book game, they would get better, and it was cool. I mean, their work got better and was cool. That didn't happen though. That was kind of like right at the end when because it was about 2012. That summer I went to Chicago, Wizard World. They, as far as I know, there was no place that was doing that, like accepting young comic book artists. Like, you already have to be like fully formed and really good, and I wasn't good enough. Like, nobody looked at my stuff and was blown away. They in fact, they all told me to work on anatomy. I thought I had anatomy down pretty good, but I did not. Yeah, they all told me to work on anatomy, In fact, that was the only thing that they told me. I needed to work on a lot more, but I guess the most glaring thing I needed to work on was anatomy. There was one guy who was like, "You got to draw from reference," and the picture he was talking about. That's funny because I remember I was using a picture as reference. Like I took a photo of myself like grabbing onto an object to make it look like. I mean, so then I could redraw that in the comic panel to be so it would look more real. And then the guy looked at that. And he's like, "You got to draw from reference. You can't just come up with the stuff with your out of your head." So obviously, even with reference, I wasn't that good. Another thing I noticed with at the comic convention, like from stories I heard, and then the hearing or reading the books, some of the comic books. The one I'm thinking of off the top of my head is the DC's Guide to Drawing Comics, Penciling Comics, by Dan Klaus. Klaus Janson, Dan Klaus. It was by Klaus Janson. In there, anyway, he was saying like, you get in line where people are accepting submissions, editors, and then then I remember hearing some artists talk about how they were all standing in line with other wannabe comic book professionals, waiting to get their shot. So anyway, there was like a lot of talk about like standing in a line or a place where you hand in your submission. But when I got to Wizard World there, it was pretty underwhelming for that point anyway. Like I didn't see any lines. There was no, "Hey, drop your submission off here." Not at that one anyway. There was at another one. I remember Marvel showed up. I had no idea that they were going to be there at the second Wizard World that I went to, and it was a couple of years later. It was 2014. But yeah, and I was a pretty shy dude, so I didn't want to just go up to the people and start talking like, "Hey, could you look at my submission? Hey, you want to look at my work?" I ended up doing that to a few artists. They were cool, but I mean, the artists don't give you jobs. And that's where I got everyone telling me about how I need to work on the anatomy. And they gave me some books to check out. It was probably like I needed to work on anatomy, I think, for the next 3 years, going to conventions. And I thought I was learning the anatomy pretty good. Whoops, I'm giving this guy way too much of a skin fold. I thought I was learning anatomy pretty good, but it wasn't. Not. I don't know how to explain that. I ended up doing that. What David Finch and Frank Cho, and I guess what Kyle Hotz was the guy who told that to David Finch. So a lot of pros. Anyway, they suggested getting an anatomy book, one that you like, one that you're attracted to, I guess, one that looks cool with their anatomy, and then go through the anatomy book, redraw all of it, and then cover it up and redraw it again. I would suggest, as you're going through it, like when you draw that page, cover up that page and redraw that again. And I did that. I don't know if I covered it up for all of them. I'm pretty sure I like went through, and then a few I would cover up, redraw it, and then I would just keep hammering through for the rest because I just felt I got it already. But I believe I would have benefited if I would have just kept up the covering it up and then redrawing it for every page. But I mean, it took a long time to do it. Even if you don't cover it up, I think it took me like 50 hours. So it was like about 2 weeks, because I mean, I had work too. So on my days off, I would do that. And I noticed I got better from it. Still wasn't ready, because like I said, that was after 3 years of them telling me that, or getting told to work on anatomy. I finally took that advice. If I would have done that in the first place, I could probably, I don't know, maybe I could have saved like a year's worth of struggle, artistic struggle anyway. I always had a job, so I mean, I was good there. Okay, so how's this looking? He's looking like a 40-year-old man here. He's supposed to be a teenager. Okay, his arms are... I always do this. I give him like way too big of a head. Which is a bummer. I like his head. I think it looks like, I like the placement of the eyes. I like making the eyes slightly farther apart than in real life. But because it's comics, you know, you could get away with that. So I'll just push the eyes a little bit closer together. Shaking the camera. This camera's kind of like, I got like a bar like right in front of my face. So whenever, and I got my hood on, I'm in the basement. It's kind of cold down here. So like my hood bumps into it when I turn my head. I'm just like little by little making his head smaller. All right, I think that'll work for this picture. If it doesn't, that's why I like working in pencil. That's like probably my favorite thing right now. I don't know if I'll, because I know like, yeah, there's the artists that, there's this guy Matt Weldon. He draws, I think he's one of those like guys that could draw straight to ink. Not at the Kim Young-ji level. I don't think anybody's, I'm sure other people can reach that level, you know, it's coming up in the future. But I mean, that dude was on another level. Rest in peace, Kim Young-ji. What was I going on about? Oh yeah, so there's other artists that can even in pencil, like they just start like Travis Charest style, just go right to the finished drawing, which is pretty impressive. I'm not there, and that's why I really love drawing with a pencil, because how forgiving it is. Like, okay, I don't like how that goes, so then I erase that, redraw another line. Okay, so his shoulders, his stance is giving me a little trouble. I'm trying to make it look like his shoulders are, well, I guess his shoulders be coming at us. So, but I mean, they'd be up because he's anxious, but they'd be coming towards us, so it'd be like a slight angle. So I'm trying to picture in my head. Let's draw these more higher up, straight across, so then I wouldn't see it on this side. Okay, so if his shoulders would be like right there, then okay, so then these wrinkles would kind of come from along this line. Or they would kind of also go away from that line too. I think. Whoa, that's too. Okay, I'll have to do some underdrawing here to figure this out. And so the shirt would stop about this, go around. The shirt would also be going that way from his armpit, because the arm is coming at us, so it would be slightly pulling towards the armpit. Oof, this is where the stuff starts to. It's like you got to do a checklist of what's happening. It's like, okay, the arm is turned, so you got to, and the arm is cylindrical, so you got to draw along the cylinder, but the arm is slightly coming at us, so you got to draw the cylinder, the shirt, stretching across the cylinder at an angle, because the back of the shirt comes from over here and it stretches that way. So a lot of problem solving. His bicep would be there, I think. And then I think they call these processes where the bone sticks out. And there's like 3 of them. I think there'll be one here, I think one over here, but it's behind the arm. And then of course the big old elbow here. Okay. This one's still bothering me. Is that how it would go? It wouldn't hang down that far. I keep looking into the camera because that's kind of like my version of when you hear about artists like taking the drawing and putting it to a light and then seeing the backwards version of it, so then they can point out mistakes that stick out to them that wouldn't otherwise, because they're looking at the same picture the whole time. So anyway, yeah, I'm looking at the camera, and this part, like, I think I overdid it for that, like, correction here. I'll stretch it. I won't put that angle so deep. Okay, so I'll do it right there. Yeah, so if you hear any background noise, I have roommates and I'm in the basement, so things kind of get pretty echoey down here. Where I can, I'll hit the mute button for the recording, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure you'll probably hear like some dogs walking around or maybe some people talking. And I just call it ambience. Alright, I'll just stick with that for now and then look at it again later, see if it's still, if anything still sticks out to me where I need to fix. Otherwise, I kind of just stop at a part where I think like, okay, that's good enough. I mean, sometimes I get lucky and there's something that like looks cool. Maybe not totally anatomically correct or physically, in the world of physics, correct, but it looks cool. And I tend to just stick with that. Like, to me, if something looks cool, it's like, that's what I want, more than that wouldn't happen in the real world. And that's probably why, like, if it looks cool and if it wouldn't happen in the real world, I'd stick with that, because that's like the idea of, like, 99% of the time. There are some exceptions where something looks cool and it wouldn't it's not possible in the real world, that I wouldn't keep it. Mostly because that's like my storytelling style, is like, if it wouldn't happen in the real world, that's the point. Otherwise, I'd just be taking pictures of things and putting them in panels. Let's see, this one hangs down a little bit lower than that one, but I think it'll be all right. Like, this is more of a sketch right now than a drawing. If I'm doing this as a sticker, then of course, yeah, I'll go back in and do the inking part. Maybe. I don't know, I might. There's a couple people that have been asking me to ink my work. So maybe I'll hand that off to them and see how things work out. If not, yeah, then I'll just ink it. I have been trying to take pictures of these things, like, because like when I scan them, I don't like how my scanner works, so I just like take a picture of it and then I'll put it in either Clip Studio or have Procreate. Neither I'm happy with for what I want, which is to darken up the lines and bleach out the whites to make it look like to turn all the lines, just really dark, like black if I can, but for the most part, like they don't ever turn like black like inks, but they get pretty dark, and I always have to keep going in anyway, and then like cleaning up around the line. But once I start doing that, then like I start noticing everything. Like, well, I might as well clean this up too then. And it's just a huge chunk of time just to do that. But if I could get that technique down, like I was watching on David Finch's channel on Steigerwald, Peter Steigerwald got on there and he was showing, I mean, the video is still there, you can search it, on his Photoshop, which I could get Photoshop, but I have an iPad, so it's not the real Photoshop, it's just like a weakened down version of Photoshop. But he was using the Photoshop, and then when he was going in to clean up the lines, he would use the burn tool. And like, I mean, he wouldn't overuse it, but like to a certain extent, like it would do what I was saying. Like it would turn the white of the paper white, and the dark of the paper, or the dark of the line, just bam, got it dark. And it looked like magic. I was like, what kind of tool is this? I didn't know the burn tool could do that. So yeah, if I ever get a new laptop, I think I'll do that, go that route. Get the Photoshop and start using burn tool. Until then, either I'll ink old school, like ink to the paper, because then when I scan that, it takes it a lot better, because it doesn't just wipe out the pencils. Or maybe I'll get a better scanner, I don't know. I really like drawing hair, but it takes me quite a while. Okay, this is where some editing will happen. I'm gonna get some coffee. It's like a really cold, windy day here, and like I said, I'm in the basement, and that's why I almost always have a sweater in my videos, because it's chilly down here. And some hot coffee would help out, so all right, here I go. Okay, I'm back. Got coffee. I don't know how you guys are, but I love coffee. Okay, so I was looking at this guy after I stood up. It's like I'd seen him differently. I think I'm squishing this part in a little too much. Oh, also, I brought a third light too. Just see how that looks. Ah, slightly better. Okay, so I think I squished this in too much. And I made his neck a little too fat right there. So I'll try bringing his shoulder out over here a little bit. See how that works. I don't know what I'm doing with that arm. Okay. Crap. Oh, whatever. I think I switched pencils. I have like two of these. Yeah, this is my 2H. I had HB. I like how HB you don't have to press as hard, and it's a nice darker line. But when I got up, I must have brought it with me upstairs. I hate it when that happens. I think it happens to everybody. Like, I was just using the pencil or the pen, and now it's gone. I know that's probably okay if I just leave that blank, but I just want to start adding a bunch of detail in there, like more folds. I'll leave it and then see how it looks after. Okay, so I'll do that David Finch technique of drawing eyes. I don't know if he always does this trick, but this is where I learned it from, was from him. Which is you do that little dot, that is their pupil. And if that doesn't work, where's my eraser? The one that obliterates everything. Alright, so if actually I think he does that when he's inking, actually, because when you don't really have too much fear when you're drawing, because you could just erase it like I just did. But so he does like a dot and then does the pupil around it. And if they don't match up with each other, like if it looks like one is a little cross-eyed, then you darken up the other spot, whichever one. You just darken them up, the pupils, make them a little fatter until it looks like they're both even, looking at the same thing. So I'm happy with that. He's got little dot pupils, but in this case I think it works because like he's kind of freaked out. he's a little stressed. I wasn't sure if I should have him like closing his eyes, like, or have him open like that. Because if I have his eyes closed, I think that would be convey more, like he's in pain. But when I leave his eyes open like that, I think it looks like he's trying to like fight through something. Like he's in pain, but he's trying to deal with it, like take it head on, sort of. Yeah, I'll just leave his eyes open. And if I change my mind, I could put it in digitally. I'll do the compare and contrast. Like I'll do a layer where his eyes are closed, click the layer off, and his eyes will be open. And do that a few times and see which one I think looks better. I would do that now, but I don't really want to draw on like another paper, do all that. I gotta adjust my seat. All right, there we go. Yeah, he's looking like late 20s now, at least, possibly 40s. I don't know. Oh, dang it. I dropped my kneaded eraser on the floor. I hate doing that because I have a dog and the kneaded eraser tends to pick up dog hair. So I end up just having to pick that out for a little while. All right, so all right, now I'm going to start drawing in tufts of hair. I remember hearing Michael Turner on a YouTube video talking about drawing hair. How you don't want to draw every single strand of hair because that would take too long. It would look unbelievable. The first time I ever heard that video was probably like in 2006. And anyway, I was looking at how he draws hair. I was thinking, you don't draw every strand it looks like you do. Holy crap, it looks like, I mean, it looks really good, but it didn't sound like what he was saying though. Like he was saying, like, yeah, if you draw every strand of hair, it'll take too long. I was like, as opposed to how you draw hair where it looks like it takes too long. So anyway, I mean, not in every case. It's just some, like when he draws some especially for the covers when he draws women's hair, and it's like blowing and looking beautiful, and then he's like drawing a strand here and a strand there. But I get what he means by that now. Like, they're just like chunks of hair, like what I'm doing, these like curvy looking triangles. Like, they're just chunks of hair. I may draw like a lot of them, but well, the wind's really picking up outside. So I may draw a lot of tufts of hair, but they're definitely not one single strand where it'd be like millions. In any case, what I mean to say here is I'll be drawing a lot more, taking a lot more time, because I'm not fast at drawing hair. Let's see, I think I'll keep that area open. That'll be kind of where the light will be hitting. I follow this one artist named, her real name is Night Zhang. I think that's her real name. But her handle on social media is Araceli. I don't know how she came up with the name, but anyway, she was talking about how, like, someone asked her how her lines look so, how she can draw so good, like her line work. It looks like she could just draw perfect straight lines or a perfect curve line. And her response to that was to, like, when you know how you want your line to go, from start to finish, just do that all in one shot. So then it makes your lines look like they have a lot more energy and a lot crisper, cleaner. I never thought of it like that. So I've been trying to follow that advice since. Basically, yeah, I follow a lot of, man, see, here's all that dog hair. Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. And I got a lot of art books, sketchbooks, all that, comic books, of course. Most of the time, though, especially when I had my time off where I wasn't drawing, but I wanted to draw, I kind of thought, like, if I at least read about the drawing or watch the drawing videos, I'll be picking something up. I probably was, but not nearly at the speed of me doing it myself, drawing. So okay, this part will be his shadow from his chin. That looks so messy, though. All right, I'm gonna clean it up once again. If I could find my other pencil, I just had it, like, before I went to get coffee. Let's see. Okay, maybe if I can't find that, I can find at least, yeah, I can't find one of the little click pencils. this? Maybe this. This is another one, but I don't know what kind of lead I have in here. I have a bunch of these things, I guess. I thought I lost them before, so I would buy another one. This might be HB, so I'll just stick with this. Yeah, I kept losing these things, or I thought I did, but I would always find them like in my backpack or in a pencil case that I had. Like it would be at the bottom. And then before I know it, I got 3 of these now. Which is cool to me. I love these pencil holders. Stettler. I don't know how German people pronounce the name. I was watching a YouTube video, like the ones that get recommended for you. I was pretty bored one day, and it was like brand names, German brand names that Americans get wrong. It was called. It was something along that title. Let's see. One of the ones was Adidas, like we say Adidas, but the girl doing the video was like, it's Adidas. I think that's how she's. I might be butchering that, but I believe it was Adidas. And then she was going into the story of like, I didn't even know that was German. I thought that was American. She was going into the story of how it got made. It was 2 brothers that I don't know, they wanted to make a shoe. I mean, I barely remember what the story was. I just remember it was 2 brothers. They got in a squabble. One of the brothers broke off, made his own brand, Puma. So that's a German one also. And at the time, they were like the 2 biggest sporting good brands. And they happened to be done by the same 2 guys that knew each other. They're brothers. Adidas. I didn't stick around I watched part of the video and then I didn't stick around. Maybe they had this brand, the Stettler brand, in there. I'd be curious to see if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's someone walking across the floor above me, if you guys picked up on that. Alright, so now here's the shadow from his chin. I think this is H or 2H also, because it's digging into the paper. I'm pressing harder. But if you, I don't want to like put indents into the paper in case I want to erase this. Whatever. Alright, so I'm gonna angle my arm this way. So this is another trick I read in a book where the guy, he's explaining how he draws grass, long strands of grass. He puts his weight on his elbow and then just rotates the pencil from his elbow, which seems pretty cool. It gives me straighter lines. There's this one other art book that I found. The guy says that he goes from his shoulder. Whoa, hang on, I got a phone call. Alright, I'm back. That was... my mom called me. She heard something funny on a show. The heck I was doing these lines? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. She heard something funny on a show, so she called to tell me about it. For my sketches and drawings, I like to, for shading, I like to do hatching. Not so much cross hatching. I will do cross hatching every once in a while here and there, but for the most part, I like just regular hatching. And then if I want it darker, just go into whatever I'm using to color, and then just get it darker there. So yeah, when I really want to clean these up, that's when I start using the other eraser. And start darkening other lines in. I guess I don't need to make his arms look too muscular or anything. I don't even think of this. I could go like that, like he's kind of moving the skin around on his head. Okay, so then I'm trying to add more, see where I could add more hatching. let's see how it looks. Let me get rid of these little lines first. They look a little too hair-like and look like they would probably mess up the look I'm going for with the regular hatching. Alright, so let's try this out. From the elbow. Alright, now I'm gonna have to move everything off my art desk because I'm leaning farther back now. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I was talking about there's this one artist in his book, he said he goes from the shoulder. I was pretty impressed by that because I tried drawing from my shoulder to do lines like this, which is what he said. That's how he makes such nice lines, fluid and stuff. I tried doing from my shoulder. I don't know. It must take like a lot of practice because I couldn't figure that out. But I'm still gonna practice it, like I do every once in a while, to see if I got any better at it, or to try to get better at it. Because I'm sure it'll pay off. Because his artwork was amazing when I do not know how to pronounce his name, but it was spelled like Diaxong, I believe. I had his art book for a while. It looked really nice. I gave it to my friend as a birthday present, though. And that was like 8 years ago already. Oh yeah, I erased those lines for a reason. I'm gonna go and add them in now. Yeah, I think I'll take these little marks off his face. That chin line won't go away. My dog's waking up. Maybe I'll keep I kind of like how that one tick mark looked. Maybe I'll put that back in. Like when you flare up your nose, crap. When you flare up your nose, that skin that starts to stretch out right there. I think I'll keep that little mark. Alright, and then this will be the bottom of his nose. Forgetting about my coffee. Dang, it's probably all cold by now. It's still a little warm. Alright, so these eyebrows, dang it. I was gonna say, I don't want them to look so bushy, but then I'm already... Alright, like I want them to look slightly follicle-like at the tip here. And then I want to turn the line more solid. And then a little more follicle. Yeah, like that. I guess I could just erase this part that I want to be like a straight line. I'm just now noticing that one eye looks a little bigger than the other eye. This always happens. I don't know if you ever look at other people's work and you start to notice, like if you look at it enough for a long time, you'll start to notice when like the eyes don't line up, or if one is slightly bigger than the other. Which makes sense now when I heard J. Scott Campbell say that he doesn't like to do straight on shots of faces because it's a lot harder than you think. At the time I thought like, oh cool, I have kind of a leg up on him because I love doing straight on shots. But after doing a lot more practice, I see what he's saying. Like I like doing straight on shots probably because they're the easiest, they're the ones I have the most practice with, but then I do start to notice where some things aren't, I think it's asymmetrical, where they match up with each other on both sides. And I think the better you get at drawing, the more skilled you get, the more you notice how those things are off. I want to go and clean up his teeth a little more. Looks a little too sketchy for me. I guess I could have just went into inks if I'm going to be tightening this up this much. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I was thinking I'll do a quick 45-minute sketch. And then I didn't really have a plan today. I guess I could do some coloring a little later. I have, I believe, 17 pages left to color for the comic book, Occult Descent. The link will be in the description. So yeah, for coloring, 17 more pages, and then lettering, I didn't start that yet, but I go pretty fast at lettering. I'm not a fast letterer either. Actually, I don't even know what the time, I don't know what the average time is for letterers, but as compared to my drawing and coloring, I'm basically lightning fast at lettering. I was darkening by the corners of his mouth. I guess I could do that here too, right? Make it look like the skin is getting pushed over. I would add, I mean, yeah, the artist in me really wants to add this part where the orbital bone is. So when people get older, you know, there's that, like they call them bags, grow under their eyes. When they're older, you know, you notice the bag part. So when you push your face together, your skin will fold up at where that bone ends for the orbital area. So yeah, I was gonna say, the artist in me really wants to like kind of point that out. But he's a young dude, and the more lines you put on typically makes him look older. As I say that, I put more lines on, but I don't know, it looks cool to me. So I'm gonna lean on the, if it looks cool. I don't know what you would call that, law. If it looks cool, I'll do it. While still serving the story, of course. The story here is Henry, the troubled teen, the mentally disturbed protagonist of the story. Is dealing with some issues. And that issue right now is the ancient psychopathic mutant vampire. That he witnessed. So he knows exactly what happened. There was a murder that took place at a strip club, and the police had no witnesses. There was like no blood anywhere because these guys are vampires. They obviously take all the blood. Yeah, no witnesses, no leads or anything. Like, they're trying to figure out what happened. And then Henry walks in to see his friend Andy. And I'm not 100% on this, but I imagine people that are mentally disturbed, and people in regular life, they don't have many people that they could trust. So when they find someone, or when they have someone that they can trust, that's huge for them. So anyway, he trusts Andy. He goes to her for help, whatever help that could happen, whatever help that could actually be of help to you when you got a freaking vampire coming at you. Okay, I'm trying to look at my own hand. Okay, so I'm trying to make these tendons, but I don't want to make them too pronounced. Just like at the ends where they have the most shadow. I'll go in and erase a couple lines on them. Not the best, but that hand will do. I can't have those two folds of skin going against each other. Whatever. I'm trying to make everything like perfect. Which is kind of ironic because like lots of it, like this drawing is not perfect, but like I want one part to be perfect. Okay, the pinky bone, that's what I'm trying to highlight. Be about right here, the ring finger would be about right there, knuckle. So just kind of put this around. And okay, so this would be the space in between those two knuckles. But I don't like how, because this is a big empty space too, right here between those tendons. I guess I don't need to indicate with the line. I could just, like I said, if I get this colored, I'll let the colors point that out. Try to gray this out a little bit. Okay. That's not looking too bad. Should I give him... Okay, so like... Jeez. My nephew's getting pretty excited. Okay, so I'm gonna do some hatching out from where the elbow would stick out. And I don't know how much I want to highlight these muscles, so I'm just gonna hatch out some areas to see how that looks. And then right here where the wrist is, of course, we gotta dig out that shadow. And right here too is where like your muscles, you can see some shadow on there. So this would, I think that'll be good enough for maybe. Like I said, I kind of just do this drawing, then I'll hop to another part of a drawing and like work on that, and then I'll look at the whole drawing again. And then sometimes if the area I was previously working on looks a little off, I'll go back and fix that. I don't exactly know other people's processes, but I know I heard some people say that they just keep jumping around because they're, I think they tried saying it was ADHD or something, but I heard enough artists talk about how they jump around the whole drawing, to where I think that's probably a preferred thing. Like they'll go from one, look at the whole, and then they'll adjust another area, zoom out, look at the whole thing. Like it's pretty common. Almost to where I think it's like a technique. So anyway, that's what I do. But I'm not 100% sure if that's what. Okay, so then the oboe bone is like right there. And I want to make it slightly different from the other arm. So then that doesn't look, I just don't like the asymmetrical look. On faces, I prefer it if I could, I mean, as close as I can get to it. I'd say like 90% of the time. But like looking at someone's body, like then it's like reversed. Then like 10% of the time I prefer that. 90% of the time I want them to look a little different from each other. All right, so how's it? I think it's okay. I'll allow it. And then to add some speculative nuance. I don't even know if that's a real phrase, but I like to bust up the lines a little bit. Okay, and I was gonna add some eyes behind him, like that'll be the villain, Sakal. That's a tiny eyeball. Let's move that eye over here a little bit. So here's where I want some asymmetrical. I think it would be about there. That's where that eye would go. And then the eye is roughly there, length. And then go about that high. I'm a little off there. Okay, now I could go in and erase these guys. Maybe I don't even need to erase them. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go in, and my plan is to go in and start shading everything. I need to get one of those brushes. I always thought that those things look dumb, but it makes sense to have that instead of like rubbing my hands across there. Because sometimes I have smudged like the whole drawing. You can just see like the streaks going from the line. Oh wait, or maybe I could get one of those keyboard cleaners, the air. Just use that, because that's pretty strong. Should be able to push the eraser shavings away. see if I could draw in the brows, just to, because I think that looks cool, rather than just have these two eyes cut out in a whole thing of after I shade it in. Kind of reminds me of that intro to the old Scooby-Doo commercials, cartoons, I mean. Here I'm kind of taken from how I seen Dale Keown do brows. Like he'll do like these little, like this part area furrows up against each other, like almost kind of reminds you of those, if you open up a orange and you see like the little citrus things, whatever you call it, cells or something, they look like football shapes. Yeah, football shapes. Like how Jim Lee and Will Sportasio called it. Anyway, so Dale Keown does it like that, and then he'll go one step higher and then make the lines even longer. I think that's how he might even make these like one step longer, like the little one slight longer, and then really long. Anyway, that's what it looks like to me anyway, studying his work. I really like drawing these lines. The creases in the nose. It just looks like an added level of being sinister. I think I made this eye longer than this eye. Or maybe I didn't. Could be looking like an optical illusion. That's another thing about working digital. Like if you want, you could get that graph, make your paper look like a graph paper. You just like measure it out instead of just trying to eyeball everything. All right, yeah, whatever. So start really blacken this up. Crap, I might have to spray like a fixative or something to keep this stuff from smudging. Yeah, this is starting to look like a smudging nightmare if I touch this. Since I'm right-handed, really got to make sure to go left to right. Hmm. That looks more like a mess than anything. If I could pull out these eyes a little better. Keep forgetting about my coffee. Alright, now the coffee is cold. Better hurry up and get this done. Get off the paper line. Yeah, I really don't want to touch the paper now. It's just gonna get all over my fingers. Okay, I just want to make a solid, menacing eyeball line. With a heavy, menacing brow line as well. So yeah, now I'm really digging into the paper. This part kind of reminds me of inking because I'm not going to go in and try erasing this stuff once I press this hard into the paper. Yeah, and where I can, like, this is like my natural arc with my hand, obviously. So where I can make fast, fluid marks like that, I prefer to do that because, like I was saying earlier, it just looks a lot cooler, looks a lot smoother. So that's why I try to position my hand like that if I can. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time. Like when I was coloring in over here or shading in over here, like it was tough to do that without making a huge arc, noticeable arc. Which I don't like the noticeable arcs, or that's not what I was going for when I was shading in the background anyway. Yeah, these eyes look a little different from each other. Every time I look at them, they look like this one I thought was bigger than that one, but now I don't know. Now it looks like it's vice versa. All right, so whatever. Let's go in and do a better outline on this guy now. I'm still doing my best not to touch the paper. That's always tough. After I'm done, I'll have a huge gray mark all over my palm. I was thinking about getting that workable fixative stuff. Right, let's use my sweater. I was thinking about getting the workable fixative stuff, so then I could, spray this, not have to worry about getting smudging everywhere, and then still be able to draw on top of that. I got a small eraser somewhere. Here it is. But when I went to get some fixative, I got the final fixative stuff, which I haven't worked on that or tried to, but just going by the name of it, looks like once you spray it, that's it. Don't try adding any more. I don't know, I guess I could also, but also I'm kind of nervous about, like, I don't like spraying chemicals and then touching the paper or whatever with my hands. Like if I spray it, like I just want to put it in a frame and never touch it again. I mean, the frame, of course, yeah, but not take it out of the frame, I mean. So with workable fixative, like I'm curious about it. Like maybe I'll try it. Or maybe not, and just like keep dealing with this. This eraser really comes in handy when you have tiny spots like this. Or when you want to pull up highlights. I got lost. What the heck was I erasing there? I think it was a hair line that went that way. Nope. All right, so yeah, this is I think the last part of what I'm doing here is I just want to put like a heavier outline on this guy. All right, I'm gonna move this this thing because I really want to nail this heavy outline. Okay. There, and then I'll get the, oh yeah, his shoulders right there, so gotta get that. Get this part of the arm a little bit. And then I'll stop right about there is where I want to. All right. Just move this around to get the long stretches of where it looks like it's just one line. All right, and then the rest I could just, whoops, hang on. Had something holding up the sketchbook a little bit there. All right, yeah, so for the rest I could just do a little scritchy scratching in to fatten up the outline. I think I erased that part like 3 times now. Okay, hopefully now I nailed it. Don't have to worry about erasing that part anymore. I'm being really conscious of how I have my hand on all those pencils. Alright, I think I'm done. Oh, whoops, I forgot his Adam's apple. And other features of his neck, which I think this one would be kind of like his tendon. And other tendons going into that one. Trying to make the shadow curve to go along. I think this is supposed to be that big tendon that goes from your neck. So I want this to, like, the shadow to curve around that tendon. I think I'm done. Check out the link I put for the Occult Descent on Kickstarter, the campaign I have going. If you could check it out, share it, that'd be awesome. Like I said, as of today, it has 1 week left. A little over halfway there. So hopefully I could, I really want to hit that first stretch goal where there'll be a 5-pack of stickers I'll add to everybody's, every backer's package I sent out. Yeah, I'll add that once it gets fulfilled and hits that first stretch goal.